My very earliest childhood, I was interested in theater. I made myself little puppet theaters when I was only 8, 9 years old. And as I grew, these theaters became more sophisticated.
He had been born in Vienna, and he came over here when he was about 17 and went to the Mannes School of Music, and had just graduated and had heard about the fact that there was going to be a new opera company formed at City Center.
And I just simply went down there and offered my services. And lo and behold, I became a member of the New York City Opera, even before one note had been publicly played.
By the second season of New York City Opera, he was making his conducting debut at the age of something like 23.
This country is a wonderful country, and things can happen very quickly.
In 1956, New York City Opera was having a period of great, great difficulty. The chances for its survival even were in question.
He was given the general directorship there at the urging of a committee of 4 singers who went to the board of directors and told them, we want Julius Rudel to head this company. I've always thought that was the greatest possible compliment, having been selected by his peers, really.
Our mission was to make opera a natural and needed cultural resource in our city.
It was during the Rudel era that New York City Opera really became the company that all of the other regional opera companies looked to for innovation. Who else would have thought that putting on a Handel opera in 1966, that anybody would come to that?
They said, you'll see nobody will come to Baroque opera. And of course that was not so. We had people clamoring for tickets.
He put that on with this amazing cast headed by Beverly Sills and Norman Tragle, and it made them stars.
It became the training ground for launching careers for young singers.
It's important to know that anybody could come and sing for us.
He promoted, trusted, and loved the American singer. He allowed them to grow out of smaller roles. If they had something to give, he wasn't going to get in their way. He was going to move them forward.
Julius took me aside, during a rehearsal and said, we have the Mephistopheles production, which we'd like to bring back, and we'd like to do it for you if you'd like to do it. And of course I said, are you kidding?
We can't forget that he really, I believe, is one of the great conductors of the 20th and now the 21st century, because he's still going strong.
I love the ones that you feel like you are absolutely, that person is so with you that there is no possibility to do a wrong move.
I always feel very comfortable when I'm sitting close to Julius and he's conducting something of mine, when I see that black signet ring that he wears on his left little finger raised for the opera to begin.
He's not this big flamboyant conductor, but his heart is all in it and he has everything under control. I've heard singers say, oh my God, he saved my life. I came in, I couldn't remember my cue, and just one finger pulled me out.
Julius just didn't play the score. He lived every minute of that score.
He wasn't just conducting, he knew where everybody was on stage, and which was always very comforting.
This is the way I love being on stage with a conductor. As if he were not conducting this large orchestra, but that he were sitting at the piano playing.
I think the work that Maestro Rudel did at the Kennedy Center really went beyond the work he did conducting opera in any opera house. The Kennedy Center was really just a concept when he started to work here. There really wasn't a clear sense of the programming of the center, and he had a major impact on developing the spirit that this had to be a building that had a variety of musical experiences, thinking about free programming and how to popularize the Kennedy Center as well.
Well, there were many various constituents that were going to be involved at Kennedy Center. So it was a question of finding a varied program that would take care of the various components.
The Kennedy Center now has a great variety of musical activities, from opera productions, a full symphony orchestra, and I think that we've aspired to fulfilling his vision for an art center that really had a full musical life.
The experiences that we had at the Lincoln Center were most useful. Whatever we did in one place, I could try to utilize it in another place as well.
Maestro Rudel had such a huge impact at the New York City Opera and really was the keeper of a concept for that opera company, which I think is still appropriate today.
Of course, one of the most amazing things of the Rudel era were the Ford Foundation grants. There were 3 subsidized seasons of American opera and also something like 11 commissions.
The whole idea of the American season somehow happened on a dare. Americans really have an inferiority complex about their music, and I said, I bet you I could put together a season or 2 of American operas.
American opera was just an unknown genre. I mean, what was that, an American opera? There were none.
Can you imagine any opera company doing a complete season of American opera? Now, Maestro Rudel had such conviction, and he knew that he needed to do this. New York needed it.
Well, it launched my career, because what people forget is that there was not the huge network of regional companies that we have today. And the New York City Opera was the home of new works, and specifically American works. So if it hadn't happened there, it wouldn't have happened.
He read about my opera, The Scarf, in Spoleto the first year they had a festival there, and produced it right away. He didn't waste any time. He just dug in, and when he saw something he thought might fly, he grabbed it and put it on the stage.
It got a tremendous amount of publicity, and the kind of publicity that you can't find for the serious arts today, certainly opera.
One of the most spectacular things that has happened at New York City Opera in my time there is in 2006, he returned to the City Opera podium to conduct this new production of Così fan tutte. And the woman who was supposed to sing Fiordiligi unfortunately canceled. And of course, everybody went into a panic. Oh my gosh, Fiordiligis don't grow on trees. What are we going to do? And Maestro Rudel just said, well, you know, this cover is really good.
It was just amazing. It was really what I consider to be my professional debut, and especially to be able to sing it at New York City Opera and with Julius Rudel conducting it, it was just really the opportunity of a lifetime for me.
And here's Rudel back at City Opera anointing this young present generation of American singers. And it's not just throwing these kids on stage, but it's really the kind of bringing them up and nurturing the young singers. These were things that really were established by Rudel. So just every day that City Opera wakes up in the morning and takes a breath, it's Rudel's legacy.